Goroth is the first boss in Tomb of Sargeras. As a tank, do not go near infernal spikes when burning armor is going to proc because it breaks the pillars and you need the pillars to hide behind when infernal burning comes out. Burning armor is the tank swap mechanic. When it procs on you, it turns into melted armor, which makes you take increased damage based on what difficulty you're on. In this encounter, it's normal. So, it's only 100%, but heroic is 200% and so forth. If you get hit by infernal burning while having melted armor, you are going to die. So make sure at all times you're looking if he's casting infernal burning and if you have burning armor on you. These are all the mechanics for Goroth as a tank. Besides the big bolter that spawns on the DPS, I think those are all of the mechanics he does. I hope this small introduction helps you beat Goroth. Harjatan and Bellic are the demonic Inquisition. Torment is the mechanic to watch out for, with unbearable torment being the end result of that problem. Harjatan casts Bonesaw, while Bellic casts Fell Squall. During this time, do not hit them. They increase the amount of torment you receive. So you can see I throw weapons at him while he's doing Bonesaw, which makes me have to go into the cage earlier than expected. But on the plus side, it's a good thing because the tank should always be below tanking the ad. I showed an image of the orbs you need to soak to reduce your torment back to 0 so you can leave the cage. But, very, very important, communicate with your tank to know when/if you can leave. This fight ends very, very quickly for my attempt in particular, but this is just like an example of a good run for this fight. I hope this helped. Harjatan has 2 things to watch out for and 1 thing to do, but I have never seen someone do it. Jagged Abrasions has a random chance to be applied by his basic attacks. Swap at 4 to 5 of these, whereas Unchecked Rage is a mechanic that you stack with other people to spread the damage amongst yourselves. As you can see in this attempt in particular, only a few people did this. So, it is possible to not have the entire raid stand together to soak. The last mechanic is to taunt the Razor Jaw Wave Menders away from the group because their skills apply Drenched. Drenched is just a debuff that you get. It's basically like Nithendra's. In all of my kills though, we stack the ads together and AoE them down. Mistress is a notable boss because so many raids wipe on her. Right off the bat, the jellyfish come out. Move the boss out of them and get ready to kill the eels. AoE the eels down before the slicing tornadoes come because their concealing murk makes the slicing tornadoes go away. Burden of Pain can be taunted off before the skill is actually finished, so don't worry about taunting too early when you need to take the boss. The boss will always cast it on the correct target and then come to you. Mistress will periodically cast Hydra Shot on random targets. If you have Burden of Pain, do not soak the Hydra Shot due to it doing physical damage, and Burden of Pain increases the amount of physical damage you take. If you get Consuming Hunger on you, make sure to get hit by 1 eel to remove the debuff, but stunning you briefly in return. Ultimately, she will call a shark to come help her during the fight. It will leave a very apparent bubble trail where it comes through. It does large physical damage to anyone caught in the line. Azunet comes shortly after, where you need to soak ink from the floor and take the ink to the whale sucking you in. When enough ink is given to the whale goes away, but comes back later. Those are all the mechanics for the fight as a tank that you might have to do. I hope this helps you on your adventures. After pulling Sisters, a stacking debuff is applied to you called Umbra Suffusion or Lunar Suffusion. Depending on what type it is, it increases either shadow or arcane damage taken. The floor around you shifts from Lunar to Umbra, so you move to either side when you need to. Generally, tank the boss in the middle of the room and swap when you need to move to refresh your stacks. If you get Discorporate, make sure to move to the moon side to trigger Astral Purge. Phase 1 Moonglaive happens. It's a mechanic only tanks get hit by, but it applies Discorporate, which you need to get off of yourself via moving to the lunar side, at which time the other tank taunts and you move on with the fight. In phase 2, you must tank Moon Talon Owl in melee range and move out of Twilight Glaive when Embrace of the Eclipse happens. Help damage to shield off the primary boss and move into phase 3. Later into phase 3, the tank alternates Lunar Fire until they drop off. Good luck. Desolate Host is hard to talk about because there's two perspectives of this fight. So when you're below, people add cast Shattering Scream, and you don't interrupt that because you want to break Bone Armor in the above floor. So let's say your Spirit, which is lower, and your upper is where the boss, like the big green dude, is. You don't want to break Shattering Scream below until the guy getting channeled with Shattering Scream is on top of the Bone Caged Armors. After that, though, when you're only above, I'm pretty sure, Tormented Cries come out. And Tormented Cries cast this big line of purple onto the floor. It doesn't even happen in this attempt because they're doing so much damage. But as you can read, it does 300% more damage if you're standing inside of Tormented Cries when it hits you. And you'll probably get hit really hard, but it probably won't one-shot you. This is where you need to tank swap. Because my tank didn't swap. So I had to tank the first Shattering Roar or whatever. I don't even know what the mechanic's called. I didn't have to worry about it too much because the boss died. Right after Infusion, I got Fell. So I didn't taunt the boss just yet. But whoever gets Light Infusion will always take the hammer first. That is always what's going to happen. And right after that, the one with Light always gets the bomb on them. The tank always gets that. During this phase, I didn't write anything about this, but if you cannot soak the orbs properly, do not do it. Especially as a tank. Like, you don't even have to be tanking the boss during this phase. If you're trying to do DPS as a tank, like, that's okay, but that's not your priority. You're supposed to tank. So if you mess up during the orbs, that's completely your fault. So boom, the bomb, you go in to the hole in the middle of the room with 1.5 seconds left. This will allow you to get back onto the platform and not fall to your death, like a lot of other people have done in this game's history. On Heroic, every hammer, so let's say I'm Fell, and I get hammered, it's going to put a puddle under me. And on the other side, there's going to be swirlies under their other side's feet. That's the entire fight, though. Like, that's all the mechanics in Maiden for a tank. You just tank and spank. Fallen Avatar. Either tank Maiden first, or the Fallen Avatar. He applies Desolate stacks to you, which you swap with the other tank at 2 or 3. See, it says to swap right there, but we didn't swap, so it was 3. Run away from rupturing realities as soon as possible. It kills you. Try your best to get the Maiden into the exact middle of where the laser is. It's more important than having her close to the boss for when she's going to explode the raid. Because the line will give the Fallen Avatar energy, and then he will eat her. And when he eats her, he gets her health, and he just phases quickly. So cleansing protocol. We brought it close. I took the boss. I took Maiden. Bane. So I'm pretty sure right here is when, yeah, we swap. And then he's going to fall down. So he falls down now because we do so much damage to Maiden that we just phase it quicker than we were supposed to. He actually eats her, I think. For some reason, even though I even looked at this, the laser was not even getting hit on Fallen Avatar. So I'm not sure why that happened. Always run away from Rupture It destroys the floor. And on normal and normal only, you can take the boss into this and the fell stuff, and he'll actually not blow up a lot of the floor. But on any other difficulty, it's a set amount. Like it always breaks a certain amount of flooring. That's the entire fight, though. It happened pretty quick because this is 250 speed. kil'jaeden is probably he's probably the hardest in terms of actually doing it because it's easy to mess up generally because you can have the Fell Claws face the raid and then it's a wipe. What you're supposed to do is take those big soaks, but in this particular attempt, I was not able to get one soak in, a big soak. It was just not possible. So I didn't take any soaks this entire time, which makes me bad. But you swap off at 5 Fell Claws. And I don't know if the ad spawns on this difficulty, but if the tank ad spawns, you tank that into the raid and then you kill it. It dies pretty quickly. The ability is called Armageddon Hell. It's the big soak. That's what it's called. But going into the last phase, the Deceiver's Veil, you have to kind of go to Illidan. You have to find Illidan, and then mostly you paint it on the map and you jump to him, and then that's the end of the encounter. kil'jaeden is that simple on normal. He's that simple on heroic, but the DPS ads spawn earlier in stage 1, like phase 1, so you have to worry about that. But it just adds to more damage.